welcome to this edition of the Angels and Destiny show. Why is this show called this, you may ask? So I tell you. The accepted meaning of evangelist messenger and the accepted meaning of destinist make firm establish. So my guests and I bring you messages to establish what you need to know in the present. And of course, I like working with angels and the calmness they bring. Now, in a moment, I will introduce you to my wonderful guest, Jemma Rosenthal.
Yeah.
There you go there. But before that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching the show live or at a later date, as it means a lot to me to connect with like-minded people. Now, if you've never met me before, then my name is Rae, and I'm a guide who helps you remember your divine presence so that you can heal your past, create your future, and transform your present to expand your consciousness, understand your spiritual path, and take charge of your destiny so you can spread your wings and soar. I'm the founder of Radiant Angel Energy, and through Divine Presence, virtual and actual retreats, transformational packages, a 6-week guided meditation series for confidence, workshops, and so much more, you remember why you're here, your spiritual path, and the clarity on the next steps to take. Now, each episode of this show covers various themes of your journey, a mini guided meditation and/or angel oracle card reading with the wisdom of my wonderful guests, like today's guest, Jemma Rosenthal, talking about your spiritual, not mental, finding sanity on the spiritual journey. Now, Jemma is a singer-songwriter, music producer, dancer, writer, actor, and creative life coach, founder of Creative Hearts. She's a multi-award winning entrepreneur for Find Your Voice and a best-selling co-author. Jemma has a BA Honours in professional dance and musical theatre and is trained in Reiki Level 2 and has an NLP Life Coaching Level 5 diploma. Now, BBC Radio Sheffield described her voice as angelic. You really ought to check out her music. She co-hosts Find, Tell, Share, the Storytellers podcast, interviewing artists and entrepreneurs. Jemma blends her passion for creativity, healing, and storytelling, using music and other art forms as a healing tool, encouraging herself and others to share their voice, experiencing a coming home of themselves through creative and artistic expression. Now, with testimonials such as if you're looking for transformation, spiritual insight, and growth, then I highly recommend that you connect with Jemma. I found Gemma's coaching very enlightening, liberating, and empowering. And little did I know that she helped uncover that I'd been hiding myself and my many talents that bring me joy behind past criticisms. Her energy and smile help you go back into the world a brighter, more vibrant you. Highly recommend. So, without further delay, hello, Gemma, and welcome to the Angels and Destiny show. How are you today?
Hi, Ray. Thank you so much for such an amazing introduction. And yeah, I'm just smiling. So I'm really happy to be here. Yeah, super happy to be on the show. Thank you so much.
Ah, you're welcome. So, before we get into this fascinating conversation, I want to remind you that not only can you share this video, but you can also ask questions, leave comments and thoughts, as both Jem and I want to be part of this conversation. So, please don't be shy, say hello, and do let us know you are here. So, Gemma, why don't you tell us more about your journey and about the effects and confusion on the awakening journey and how mental health problems, symptoms can present for sensitive and artistic people and how we
Mhm.
can actually help each other to heal and connect?
Yes. So it's quite a big topic. So I'll just share a little bit about my journey and where I'm coming from with it, because I know a lot of people that are listening will probably be able to relate to, if you're tuning into this. I'm sure that you've had some kind of experience or even just a little bit of a curiosity about the spiritual awakening journey. Perhaps you've had some mental health issues, or maybe just some anxieties or depression, or you might have had some illness before. And so I want to share, first of all, that I have so much compassion for where you are right now, because whatever part of your journey you're on, or whatever stage you're at of awakening, that it's not easy, and you are very, very brave to be here right now. The fact that you're here right now shows that you've got a lot of strength. And if you're listening to this message and you relate to it and you can hear what we're saying, then I just congratulate you for reaching that stage. So that's just the first thing I would say. If this doesn't if you're not sure what all this means, what is spiritual awakening, what is taking charge of your destiny, does this all mean? Maybe you have previous judgments about spirituality, or maybe you think it's a religion, or maybe you are religious and you're thinking, what is this? Is that, I just want to take you back to 2012, which is when I had my spiritual awakening. Now, 2012 is actually part of the Mayan prophecy. So it's a very important date. And I've just read the book by Diana Cooper, which was you were reading Diana Cooper's cards in your latest card reading, Rae. So it's just such a synchronicity that I just happened to be reading her book as well. But it's not really, because obviously when you learn about law of attraction, you start to realize that the people that come into your life are not by accident. Nothing is, coincidence, really. Well, everything is coincidence. Everything coincides with one another. So you start to find, and well, I started to find in 2012, I read a book called The New Earth by Eckhart Tolle.
Mm.
And I actually started to meet, it was actually my neighbor was reading the book, but I had prayed for her. Now, I wasn't brought up religious. I see myself as a spiritual person, but not religious necessarily. I do read certain religions and I learn from them. But basically, I just had a real strong sense to pray for my neighbor. I knew that she was going through a hard time. And I just found myself in just really wanting to help her, but I didn't know how. But I'd read this book, and it wasn't just the book. There was lots of other things going on, because I wouldn't just take things just from a book. I would make sure that it matched my own experiences. But there was something around this book where I'd had this experience of, wow, everything's connected. And there's only the present moment. There is no time and future. There's no past and future. It's all in the present moment. So even though I'm saying this happened in 2012, really it's happening now, in the sense of that we're remembering it now. There's no way of accessing 2012 now. The only point of access is now. So we're in 2012 and I'm praying for my neighbor, and then I'm walking down the road another time and I'm chatting to her and I'm saying, "Are you okay?" And she was quite a strong woman, so she was going, "Of course I'm okay. Yes,
Yeah.
of course I'm fine. I'm fine." Because people don't like to be asked, that they're okay. Especially when they're older than you. People,
Yeah.
like, who are you? Why are you? Of course I'm okay. And I said, "Are you sure?" And then she said, "Yeah, yeah." And then she came back to me a few days later. She said, "Jemma, thank you so much for asking me if I was okay. I've actually gone through a bit of a transformation at the moment, and I found this book. It's called A New Earth." And I just was like, what? Like, literally, I'd been down on my knees, like, please help this woman and send her a new earth. Like, make sure she reads A New Earth. I don't know why, because, why would I specifically want her to read A New Earth? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, she had read it. And then I also started dating someone who'd also read the book. Now, you could say, well, yeah, it's a famous book. Lots of people are going to read it. So, but going into the next part of, so we're talking about mental health today, because this is a serious topic. It's something that's affected me a lot in my life. So when I'd had this awakening, I didn't have anyone to support me through it, really, apart from books. Now, books can be really helpful, but we need people.
Yeah.
And just having friends that had read the book wasn't enough to really help me in where I was at with my mental health. I just left performing arts college. So I'd done a 3-year professional course in dance and musical theatre. And then I'd gone straight into doing work and auditioning. So I was working in shops and doing teaching jobs, like teaching dancing, and I was doing shows now and again, bits and bobs, open mics, recording song. I really did start to go for it, and I was like, I really want to make the most of this. I want to use my talents. I want to, get a job and earn money and be out there and create songs. And I really was trying my best, but really, I was really super lonely. And that's the truth of it. I didn't have, I'd gone from being in college every single day, we're surrounded by hundreds of people, to walking the streets of London on my own, trying to find, various venues for auditions and not getting them, going to auditions and then hearing nothing, singing my heart out, learning songs and scripts and things. And then it was just like, okay, working in a shop, standing for hours on end, just like my mind was just, I couldn't, the stress of feeling, going from all that support,
Yeah.
really, really such a safe kind of environment where you've got teachers and mentors. And I've had the best mentors when it came to singing, dancing, voice work, acting, just every single day, basically, to really not a lot of support at all, you know, having to try and find my way about
Yeah.
London and try to earn a living. Well, it didn't really go down that well. I mean, I started off good and I got a job and I got my first performing job. So I got a job in a pantomime, actually, which is something you do as
I do,
well. So
yes.
we have that in common. um, and I got ill when I was doing this pantomime. I got very, very sick with flu. So sick that I
Oh,
actually I had no understudy, but I had to, they told me to go travel all the way across the London to just tell me, you can't carry on. You're too ill. And they also sort of suggested to me, something around like, I think you should check your mental health. And I found this totally insulting because
mm.
I was thinking, well, there's nothing wrong with me. I read a new I'm very I'm very spiritual. Like there's nothing wrong with my mental health. But the thing is, I was a bit in denial because actually there was something wrong, because I was scared. I was in fear. I was no longer in the initial awakening stage where I felt very peaceful and very at one, because there's different phases of the spiritual awakening. So I don't know if you've found this as well, but sometimes we have these light phases where it's all very nurturing and loving and kind, and just you just feel at one with the universe. And I had these experiences. I'm just going to turn the light on.
Yeah.
um but then there was also really dark phases where I felt depression. I was very alone. I'd be awake all night, not able to sleep. There was other times where I would just be manic, and just like writing all the time, but it was just like like thoughts were just going and going and going. I just didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
I didn't feel safe. And so I had to go home. I rang my parents. There's a lot more to the story, by the way, and you can actually read. I have a couple of books that go into this part of my journey. So there's The New Woman, um, Stories of Kintsugi Experiences. So I have a chapter in here called Dancing with a Voice. So that has part of this story that I'm telling you, goes into a bit more depth. And then Words of the Wise, Wisdom from Awakening Journeys as well. A song to sing that also goes into even more depth around it. So if you want to know more about that, you can drop a message and buy your copies of these. And so I decided to go home to Sheffield, and I was actually so manic at the time that my thoughts no longer, well, you can call it manic, but it was also it was also a spiritual experience in the sense of that time no longer existed. There
Yeah.
was, as in, time was very, very different to how we experience time now, or how I experience time now. It was it was almost as if the past and the future were merged. So everything was now. And the way I experienced life was just totally different.
Yeah.
Nothing I'd ever experienced before. And it was all my mind doing it. I'd not taken any drugs. I'd not changed anything in terms of the physical. It was just my
Yeah.
mind doing it. Now, what the medical system told me was that I was bipolar. I'd had a psychosis, that everything that I'd experienced up until that point was not real. Like, my spiritual experiences were not the truth, and that now I was on drugs. So they put me on medication, very strong medication, made me gain weight. My hair was falling out. I was very, very numb. I couldn't feel anything.
Yeah.
And they said, "This is your truth. This is real. Everything you've experienced up to now, that's not real." And this, you know, I said to them, I didn't take it. I said, "Look, that can't be true. This is my lived experience. I know better than somebody that's just met me one time,
Yeah.
for a minute. I'm sorry, but you can't dismiss someone's real life experience and what they've gone through, no matter whether you think it's, I was going to swear, whatever B word,
Yeah.
it's like, you can call it that, but this is my lived experience. And I think, I kept on to that belief that actually what I was going through. Hi, Graham. Oh, it's nice. It puts it up on
Yeah,
on
I
the
know you can
screen.
when people,
Great stuff.
comment or say hello. So anyone watching, do say hello so
Yeah.
we can actually see you're here and Gemma
Yeah,
can see
yeah,
you're here.
definitely. Um, yeah, so I think, well, I don't know if you have any questions around that. It might be easier to kind of respond on that, but I do think that one of the reasons why we're here and we're talking about this is because I know that there's a lot of people going through various mental health things. They might be in the mental health system, they might not be, but there's a lot of misinformation around what it means when you have a mental breakdown or a breakthrough, as we call it in the spiritual community. But there's a lot of confusion around it, a lot of, hi Lisa, um there's a lot of, what is real? That is the question. Like, a lot of people will say, I don't know what's mental health. I don't know what's a spiritual awakening. And I actually had a woman, she's sadly passed away now, but I was on a different call, another type of show like this, and a woman asked me, she said to me, "I really relate to your story, Gemma, and I don't know what the difference is between mental health and a spiritual awakening. What is the mental health and what's the spiritual awakening?" And I think the answer that I gave to her was that the mental health side of it is the confusion, the fear, anything that feels bad, basically, and feels like you're um going into something where you just feel disconnected. It's disconnection. Whereas spiritual awakening is connection. However, you have to sometimes disconnect to connect. So that's the confusing part, because actually, sometimes when you have a spiritual awakening, you do feel fear and you do
Yeah.
feel disconnection, because you have to let go of everything that you believed. And that's scary.
Yeah. 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 Well, we've got so Graham says
Mhm.
moment of profound change with him. Um, Janeki says, I'm here to enjoy it and sent the link to a healer who's still struggling with mental health
Yeah.
since COVID. I think COVID really brought a lot of things and in people, whether it was mental health or spiritual awakening, um, with that. And Pingu Penguin says, Hi, Jem. Did you ever feel like people were judgmental to your spiritual awakening? I feel like I'm holding back due to fear of judgment from others.
Yeah. Um, yeah, people did judge me. Yeah, they said I still get it. I still get it. People think, they'll say things like, "Oh, it's a cult," or you know, it's woo woo. It's it doesn't, it's not logical. It's not. Um, Sometimes I get very people get very dismissive when I start to talk about synchronicities. So, if I say, so for example, I had a dream one time that my friend died, and then he did. And I remember it's actually making me feel quite I had a little bit of anger come up there, but I'm gonna calm myself. So when I share that with someone, that's a very quite a personal thing to share, isn't it? That you've experienced. That's obviously a very frightening experience to have a friend um pass,
Yeah.
and to know about it before it happened. It's a frightening experience. And the amount of people that have dismissed that experience and gone, well, it's just a coincidence. You couldn't know that. And I think that's fine if that's what they believe. If they think that it's all nonsense and we're not connected, I think it's scientifically impossible that we're not connected, to be honest.
And I think
Uh,
science has proven that we are connected.
exactly.
That's the thing. Science is there's actual science for it.
Yeah,
We are
exactly.
connected.
We are connected, our brains as well, not just our, like, obviously physically we are different and we
Mm,
have separate minds. However, our minds are all connected
yeah,
because we cannot right now. I mean, if you look at the screen, we are actually literally one screen. We're
yeah,
on one screen. We're actually, you're hearing our voices. We're there. We're actually miles apart, but we are here,
yeah,
speaking to you at exactly the same time, in the same place. Well, not exactly the same time. You know what I mean? So, regardless of scientific um, explanations, which I'm not I'm not a scientist. However, I think when you dismiss someone's lived experience, and this we'll talk a little bit about compassion, because thank you, Graham. If you if someone shares with you a spiritual experience, you don't have to believe them. There's some experience which I haven't had, but if somebody tells me that they've, for example, I might have seen a ghost, but I don't know if I have seen a ghost, for example. But if someone tells me that they've seen a ghost, I'm not going to just dismiss them and say, well, it can't be,
no,
because that's their experience. And we have to start to have give space for people's lived experiences, whether we actually believe it's true or whether we think it's a figment of their imaginations. What I've learned is it doesn't actually make a difference, because everything is imagination anyway.
yeah,
We're all making stuff up all the time. Like, my experience of you is going to be different to somebody else's experience of you.
yeah.
We're all just projecting our own experiences onto other people. So so yeah, I know we've got a lot of comments, so I don't know
We
if you wanna
have.
read them
So
out.
let's go. So Lisa says, spiritual is more fear of unknown, new, where mental health fear normally has a root somewhere, or that's how she
Mhm.
sees it.
Yeah.
What do we think about that?
That's a really good point, actually. I really like how you put that into context. So, yes, spiritual is more fear of the unknown and new. Yeah, so I think when we're when we have a spiritual experience, it does take us into something new. So then we fear it and go, oh gosh, what's going on here? Whereas mental health can be more to do with the past. You're right. So it might be something like a trauma that's happened to you, and it's in your childhood or something that, in the past that's come up, and then we have to address it in the now. But there's also fear of the future as well, which can be part of mental health, where we might fear, for example, like going to a job interview or something. We might have a lot of fear because we don't want to be in an environment where we're not accepted or
Yeah.
appreciated. um Even like, I find a lot of my mental health currently, because I still experience mental health, it's got a lot better, but a lot of it now is to around my business, because I get fear around, that I've got to sell things and I've got to market and promote, and so that can create a lot of anxiety and worry. And I think when we have a spiritual experience, so for example, when when I have a spiritual experience around my business, it will feel so synchronistic. Like this right now, I'll have messages from people, saying, I'd like you to be involved in this book, or I'd like you to collaborate with this thing, or I'd like to work with you on this. And it feels magical. And the clients that come to me, and you just think, wow, how did this happen? Like, it feels as if somebody's gone, you know what? These people are the supposed to meet.
Yes.
And that's happened before with a client where I read my story out, and she didn't know why, but she knew she had to work with me because there was something I'd actually sang during the speaking. Well, like, I made sounds, and it was something about the sounds I made. It triggers something beyond her logical, like her
Yeah.
thinking brain, that's normally would make decisions. And sometimes the fear as well, coming back to the spiritual, so a lot of people fear actually having sessions with a healer. And this can be really frustrating for us as well, because we're trying to make run a business, and then there's all these people going, oh, I really want to awaken, but I'm just scared. And
Exactly, and it's like, and then when they do it, they go, "Oh, it wasn't as scary as
it
I
wasn't
thought
as
it
scary as
was."
I thought, I know. Yeah, so that's just the hurdles we have to overcome. So I wanna say that when you get that first intuition, that's the thing you need to listen to. When you get an intuition that, yeah, this is someone I need to work with, or this is someone I need to connect with or be friends with, that's it. And the same with the opposite. If you got an intuition that, something's not right here, I don't think, or you need to move away from a situation, then follow that. I think it's that knowing, that discernment between knowing, is it your fear that's making you run away? Because actually, you don't want to face what you need to face. And perhaps you're scared that actually, once you do overcome those fears, that actually, what will you then have to do, or what will it mean? And really, what all it will mean is that you're going to be happier.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And Graham
Yeah.
says, "Well, your spirit self's having a human experience that you already wanted to have."
Mm,
And that synchronicity is the conjunction of moments set into our paths of life.
yeah.
Um, and so, how do because obviously you've gone through the stage with the mental health. How do you now distinguish between okay, spiritual, mental health? Because obviously there was that confusion at some point.
Hmm. Well, I think with the spirituality, it's, how do I connect to love? How do I connect to peace? How do I become more accepting, compassionate, peaceful? I've said peaceful, but I'll say it again.
Yeah, there'll be a reason why you said that twice.
Peaceful, because I think with mental health, you're not at peace. you're worrying or you're upset or and those emotions are okay. You know, we don't want to judge when we're in fear or anger or jealousy or whatever it is that we're going through, but it's just noting, oh, okay, that's I'm not at peace with something. Something in my environment is triggering me to not be at peace. So that's how I distinguish whether I'm in my spirituality, which will be guiding me towards peace. Now, this doesn't mean that spiritual people don't get angry or don't experience fear. So you should never judge a anyone really of how they're showing up or yourself, because actually spirituality it can be spiritual people can be very fierce in their
Mhm.
expressions. You know, they can
Oh,
be
yes.
very assertive and have boundaries, you know, strong boundaries. So you may meet someone and they seem totally unspiritual, the way they present themselves, but that doesn't actually mean that they're not spiritual. That just means that they are how they are and you're creating a judgment on them.
Yeah.
So
And
we don't know. We don't know who is the only way we know is by tuning into our gut feeling and our hearts.
yeah, which is the Graham says by going in with
Yeah.
yourself. And the thing also is, I mean, I've come across some spiritual people like that, but just because that's how they present themselves to me, somebody else will see as that person will present themselves to them completely different, which is absolutely fine because that is how it's supposed to be. We're
Yeah.
not supposed to like every spirit or resonate with every spiritual person out there, because every spiritual person out there, even if they're doing the same thing, like two angelic Reiki practitioners say,
Yeah.
you're going to be more in tune with one than you are with the other. And that's absolutely fine, because that is how you're going to grow, because that person's going to help you as that
Yeah.
person isn't.
Yeah. And I think it's really fascinating just tuning into that and just getting a sense. So I always go into the body and try and be really present with how I feel. So when I'm meeting people, I get a sense of, oh, this is a person I need to connect with. And I'm always, it's almost always spot on, you know, like there's been people maybe that I might have met years ago and I'll get a sense, oh, okay, this is someone I need to connect with. And it might not happen for years, but then it does happen and you understand why, because you think, "Oh, okay, this is now I've learned a lot from this person, or we've grown together, or we've had a friendship." And it's just taking note of, they say things like it's a lesson or a blessing. So when you meet someone, they're either going to be give you a blessing, which is great, or they're going to give you a lesson, which
Yeah.
is great as well,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah. Oh, Gemma's just frozen there for a second. Hopefully, she'll
I th-
get back to
yeah.
us. You there? You're back. There, you just froze for a
Oh,
second.
you froze. I don't
Okay, we obviously both froze at different times. Well, we froze at the same time, but at different
know. I
times because
don't
I was
know.
still
I don't know
moving.
what they saw. So
No,
Lisa's put a
no,
comment.
she has. She says, I think sometimes folk get so used to the fear, mental health, anxiety, etc., that um, they feel that is all they are now. So trying to heal and clear that is also fearful, because they may feel there is nothing left that is still them afterwards. Oh, because it's all been so consuming. So we have just lost Gemma for a second or two. So we'll wait for her to come back in, to the screen, into the thing. But yeah, Melissa, that's quite right, and I think Gemma will probably agree with that when she gets back in. Um, so I'm guessing she must be having some difficult. Uh, yes, Graham, it's not you this time. And that for anyone who tried watching uh, Graham and I's show, last week. Graham and I ended up having to cancel the show because
Oh,
nothing worked. But Lisa says Mercury retrograde, loves messing with technology. Yep, it's definitely Mercury retrograde time at the moment. But hey, that's the way it goes. And that so yeah, so we obviously had Lisa's comment there, and it's also because they may have nothing left that is still them afterwards because it's been also consuming.
yeah,
And that, and Graham says, well, Lisa, spot on. Spot on there. So how so how do you help people? You know, you've got um you've co-written two books, you've done an oracle, you've co-created an oracle deck, um you do podcasts and workshops and stuff. So how do you help people um you know with this?
yeah. So I've actually pulled a card which says tap into your wise mind.
Oh, cool.
And so how I help people with this is I will read that card, um, which will give a sense as well in a minute. I'll read that. But it's to do with your identity. So you know how Lisa said about it gets all consuming.
Yeah.
That's because you're identifying with the mental health. Not you, Lisa, but whoever is maybe in that situation. So when you believe your thoughts, this is something that Byron Katie talks about. I don't know if you've heard of Byron Katie's The Work.
No.
So it's 4 questions. Is it true? Can I really know it's true? How
Yes.
do I feel when I think it's true? And then you do the turnarounds. So this is what I do. I don't use Byron Katie's The Work because obviously that's her work. I do recommend it to people, but I use belief tables. So NLP, I'm training in NLP and Reiki, and I use a mixture of mind healing and training and energy healing. So the mind training is all about beliefs and identity. So it's about, you've got to affirm to yourself who you really are. So something I recommend you to do, if you can right now, or you can do it later, grab a pen and paper and write down 2 separate sides. So one side can be what my thoughts or my mental health might say I am. So for example, that might say, oh, you're lazy, you can't do anything, you're rubbish, everybody hates you, you're not, nobody loves you, or whatever it is.
You can't sing.
You can't sing, you can't dance, you can't act, you just need to go and be in a hole, whatever. And go as crazy as you like on this side, because this is your crazy side. So you can either say, my crazy side, this is what your crazy side says. And that's your, when you're in a mental health, you might be in it now, or you might not be, but try and remember how you felt in that moment when you were really down. Or and just, so that's your identity, because we say things like I am lazy, or I am not a good singer, or I am rubbish, whatever it is, or I'm not spiritual. That's another good one. These people are so spiritual who I'm watching. They know everything because they've done it. They're trained in Reiki. I'm not a Reiki healer, so I can't do it. Rubbish. we don't know anything more than anyone else. All we've done is we've practiced. That's all. So I'm going to give you a tool right now that you can do. So on one side, so you've written down now your crazy side, or your mind, your thoughts, those negative thought patterns. Then on the other side, your true self. Who are you really? Or your kind self, or your wise self. Let's go with wise self. So this is This card is tap into your wise mind. Now, I will give credit to DBT course that I did, which is a therapy called dialectical behavioral therapy, and this is where I learned about wise mind. So your wise mind, I'm reading from this card now, will see
Yes.
both your logical mind and your emotional mind as sacred gifts pointing you in the direction of what needs addressing and healing. Connect to the wisest part of your mind. What are you being guided to do, say, or think? And then the affirmation is I trust my wise mind beyond logic and emotion, ignoring neither, including both. There are answers available in my wise mind. Now, this artwork is done by BT Design as well. So these cards are called Self Love and Creative cards, and they're £20. So if you would like a pack, you can drop me a message. They were on Etsy. I'm not quite sure if they're still on Etsy at the moment, but drop me a message because I have some packs. I'm just ordering some of the boxes, so we've just sold out. So I need to, but there are more. I've got a big box of them coming, so we'll get them sent to you if you would like some cards. So coming back to the other side, so you've written down your thought crazy mind.
Mm-hmm.
This mind is your wise mind. This is your most loving, kind, wisest self. So who are you? Who are you? And you might need to take a little moment actually. So don't just write immediately unless something really strong has come
Mm.
through. But actually take a moment, take a breath. So let's just do this all together. So you can put your hand on your heart before you actually right, because the ego always speaks loudest and first is what A Course in Miracles says. So the ego will be like, you're rubbish. You can't do anything. You can't sing. Like no, I'm a singing coach as well, so I do find your voice. So we were talking about singing before with
Yeah.
Ray. So the ego will always make you feel rubbish, or it will make you think you're amazing and everybody else is rubbish. So it might be like you're the best singer in the whole wide world. It's kind of, well, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for your true self, not your skills in this sense, but your true self. So just going into your heart, so you can close your eyes if you want to, or if you feel more comfortable, you can open your eyes. Just take a deep breath, and you can put one hand in your belly as well. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And again. And now just seeing this wise mind within you, your wisest self, your loving self. Start to get a picture. Who is this person? Who is this being? You might get some words coming in, you might get colors or visions, or you might just get a sense. Who is your wise self? And it doesn't have to make sense. So I just saw a unicorn. That doesn't mean I'm a unicorn. That's one of my guides. It doesn't have to make sense. Just allow. And then get your pen and write down what your wise self says about who you are. And it's not going to criticize you. So if it starts to say that you're a horrible person, just think, no, that's the ego. Put it on the other side. It's not going to be horrible to you.
No, and that's the thing. You're sort of like your higher self, your loving self is, even if angels, guys, etc. They will, even if they tell you off, they will tell you off in a
In a
loving
loving
way.
way. Yes. So they might say,
Yes.
for example, they might say something like, when you said that, that wasn't nice. You know? So say if you said something to a friend and it was a bit unkind, they will tell you that was unkind. But they're not
Yeah.
gonna say that you are unkind, that that's your identity, and that's the difference. So they might point out a behavior. Your loving self might say, "When I did or said this, that wasn't kind," or "I was a bit horrible when I said that." But they're not gonna call you a name or, you know, it's not gonna feel bad. It's gonna make you feel like, "Okay, I want to do better."
Yeah, yeah. And Graham says, Gemma, I've been using that idea for many years. Glad to see it's still being
Yeah.
used. Hugs. And Graham got openness,
Oh, nice.
and Janeki got radiant.
Radiant. Nice.
Yeah,
Whoa,
beautiful.
excellent. Did you have anything come up, Ray?
I was too busy trying to thinking, okay. Unfortunately, my brain at the moment is in the okay, I'm going to try this, but no, actually, I really need to, should I be looking to check everything's all
You
right
can
on
do
there?
it later, because then you'll have more
E- Exactly.
readiness.
And yeah, and anyone who wasn't able to do it now or wants to go back to it, please do it.
Yeah.
And then you can put in the comments, and because Gemma and I will come back
Mm.
to it. And Lisa says, I actually got told I was self-centered, egotistical for saying I love myself and know my worth. I laughed. I didn't mean to, but sometimes that happens when something surprises me. But actually, because it was actually quite sad that they felt that for them, not me, I was fine.
Yeah, do
Um,
you mean that somebody else told you that?
yeah, was that somebody else, Lisa, or when you went in to do that? I oh Graham, you shouldn't have said that. I also got
Let
Ray.
it
There we
go.
go. Sorry, let it
Let it go,
go,
let it
let it go.
go.
There, Graham, you've got two of us singing it now. And one day I will get Graham to sing it. Um, Valerie got I got cowgirl on a horse. Fun.
That's fun.
Oh, wonderful. And Lisa said, yes, it was somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. I think when you are showing up in your light and in your confidence, sometimes, unfortunately, people do get triggered
Mhm.
because it's showing them what perhaps they might want to have in their life. And really, it, it could be an inspiration for them. But if they're in a bad state, they might not be able to see it as that. They might be thinking, I want what they have, and that's not fair. And so then they would see you as self-centered and egotistical because that's where they are in their mind. But if you just send them love, so anyone that criticizes you or makes you feel bad about yourself, if you can genuinely feel sorry for them in the sense of like, wow, that must feel really bad, to think that I'm egotistical or self-centered. That's not a nice thing to think about somebody. So you must know that they must feel bad about themselves, and for them to say that about you and to think that that's where you are and that's where you're coming from, it's obviously a judgment that's reflecting where their mind state's at. So just have compassion, because we're all self-centered and egotistical sometimes, and you might not have been when they judged you, but you can understand probably why they might have thought that. A lot of people probably think that of me sometimes because I'm a performer, and I've got judged before, because, oh, Gemma thinks she's so amazing because she sings and dances or whatever. And you just have to let it go. Like, I don't know, it's sad. It's really sad, but just having compassion for others where they might be at.
Yeah, that is one of the big things, and it's literally holding the space for them and sending out that unconditional love
Yeah.
for the journey that they're on, as they go along. And Lisa says, I agree. which is why I did feel a bit bad with my laughing reaction, which I apologise for because, yes, like you're saying, they don't feel that, and that is sad.
Yeah. I think it's okay that you're laughing it off and it's okay.
Exactly, yeah,
Good to
there's
laugh.
yeah, exactly. And I know before the show you pulled another card, didn't
Oh,
you?
yes, I did. So, this card is spiritual growth, and it's from the Kyle Gray The Angel Guide. So it was really weird that now I didn't pull these cards intentionally. These were the ones that came out. So we're doing this on mental health and spirituality. Well, we have two cards here. This one is called Tap into Your Wise Mind. This one is spiritual growth. So they completely match the topic. Pulled them at
Yep.
random. Yes, so this card says, if I can go to spiritual growth, this is a powerful time for you. Your growth and understanding are unfolding at an incredible rate, and you feel more connected than ever to your soul, gifts, and purpose. Your angels are encouraging you to keep up the good work and continue expanding your knowledge, experience, and spiritual connection. When this card arrives for you, it's a confirmation that the experiences and insights you've had recently are divinely led. You may find yourself being connected to particular energies at this time, or even experiencing angels or guides visiting you. This card is letting you know that these experiences are real and occurring because of your determination to open up spiritually. The path of light is unfolding for you, and you're being encouraged to hold your head high and focus on spiritual growth, and the rest will be taken care for you.
Beautiful. Um, and it's brilliant that that card actually came out for the show. And
Mm.
so I think what we'll do is, as Gemma kindly pulled her own cards for everyone, without knowing that she was pulling the cards for them, I'm actually going to do a card for
Yeah,
Gemma
and
and
another one.
everyone watching now. So let's just see. What does everyone who's watching, Gemma and everyone who's watching this live or the replay, need to know for their highest good at this moment in time? Now, it's always when I do the cards, it's always for what you need to know for your highest good at this moment in time. Even though I work with the past, when we work on the past, it's to bring everything into the present. And when I work in the future, again, it's to bring everything back to the present. So, what does Gemma and everyone watching this live or at a later date need to know for that? Oh, okay. So we're going with that one. Perfect. Desert Passage. Trust there's a divine plan.
Oh, nice.
How perfect is that coming up? It is saying, trust what you feel, trust what the universe, trust what is you're being guided to go and do, because there is a divine plan for you here. And you are, with the card that you pulled, the spiritual card, you know that is tying in so nicely together, because you are being guided on this path to bring in that spiritual journey, to be of that service to others.
Yeah.
So if you kind of like get a little bit shaky, it's kind of like saying, okay, just connect in and trust that there is a divine plan for you coming through. So it's brilliant that that card actually came out. Um, it's absolutely amazing. Now, before we kind of wrap up the show, you've got to talk about your music,
Yeah.
because those that don't know, Gemma, as we said in the beginning, is a singer-songwriter. And if you've not checked out her music, then please do, because she writes her own songs, and the words on those songs are absolutely amazing. You really do need to listen to them. So yes, so tell us a bit about your music, because it is really good.
Thank you. Yeah, so I've been writing songs since I was a child. probably was about 10 years or something when I started writing. So long time. I always used to just write because I don't know, it would happen. It was so natural for me to do it. It was just something I would do. I'd record on tapes, recorders, when I was younger. And now I record on my laptop, and I produce my own music. I also work with other producers sometimes and musicians. So it's a mixture of styles. And I like to use beats sometimes and have them up tempo, and other times I like to use the piano and do ballads. And for me, music is a spiritual experience. It's something that now I never would have called that when I was younger because I didn't have that language. I didn't use that language. I was brought up in an atheist family. Mostly my auntie was Catholic, but it was we didn't we didn't talk about spirituality. It wasn't a thing. However, reflecting back, I still had a spiritual experience even though I didn't have the language when I was writing music, because I felt it even makes me want to cry because it's so beautiful to think that as a child, especially when I was 14, which was when my mum was ill, and I write more about that in the book as well. Actually, I'm not sure I do actually, but my mum is in the book. I needed I needed something to help me to feel better because I felt at school, I didn't feel people understood me. I felt different. And I think songwriting was the thing that I used. There was one song I wrote and I remember it, and I could sing it. It's like the lyrics were like, as I sit all alone and I'm wondering what's wrong, you know, it's kind of it was quite a depressing song, but it's like the fact that I was able to express what I was feeling through song, through melodies, um, whether that be happy or sad or curious. I think, we have to express ourselves. We have to express what's within. I think there's a quote, if you don't express what's what's within will destroy you or something.
Yeah,
It's it's quite a
yeah,
over the top quote, but basically what it means is we all have a divine purpose and gift in our life. And if we don't express that here, we will the you know, we it's meant to inspire us to help others, not just ourselves. So that's where we start to get mental health issues and physical health issues is if we don't express love for ourselves and other, like if we can't express what's inside of us, our creativity, um that's when we start to feel really down. So yeah, just back to the music, it's been my lifeline. It got me through my mental health. I've got a song called Of Their Minds. um I don't know if you want me to sing. I feel like I wanna sing, but I'm also a bit nervous because 'cause I'm
yeah.
just
Go for it.
yeah, so that one I wrote when I just came out of hospital, so I'll just kind of do it a cappella.
Mhm.
Um, so it just goes, "Thoughts racing as she's lying in bed, like thunderbolts in her head. She can't sleep, her heart beats, feeling like she just can't take anymore. She's been through it." I've just got the words wrong. That's why I was like nervous. "A heartbeats repeats. Try to switch up the station, get some real motivation. Oh, this is not a vacation, more like self-isolation. Need to get her somewhere where she can heal her mind. This is a hard thing, but she knows she has to do this one step at a time just to get through this. She's taking back control of her mind, of her mind, of her mind. Was this another left emotion from the past? Is there something that she did wrong to the last bit? She's taking back control of her mind, her mind, her mind.
Oh, beautiful.
Got more
Hey.
into it. I realised I needed a bit of a swing. That's what I needed.
Yeah,
It's
you
a bit of a
needed.
jazzy, that number one, that one. Um, yeah, it's that helped. That song was my recovery song.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for thank you for sharing that. That was that was beautiful. And Hannah says, "Overflow your own cup to
Yeah,
then fill others."
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, it is kind of like if you're not able to express that love or feel that joy, that happiness, then then how are others around you going to do that?
yeah.
You can, everyone lifts everybody up. And whilst you were
Thanks.
talking, we're going to have to do another show where we talk about music and spirituality, because
Oh,
that kind
yeah.
of, it's like, oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
what we were talking about earlier, and then it's like we're doing another show.
Yeah.
So everybody, we're going to do another show, and we might even get Gemma to do some more singing.
Yeah.
And that
That'd
you
be
we can
nice. Yeah,
we can
definitely. There's a whole other subject there
Oh
because
God,
we've like
yeah,
barely touched the surface with it. It's like just a little bit at the end, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, so we'll definitely do that. So Gemma, do you have any insights or thoughts or final words to leave our viewers with?
Just take care of yourself. That might seem like a kind of weird thing to say, like, I don't know, just be a bit more profound, but I think we forget the simple things like, taking a shower, having a bath, eating, sleeping, rest, writing in your journal, meditating. Just take care of your mind because um your mind's really precious and you deserve that care. You deserve to be loved, and that love can come from you. Um, and your higher self does love you. So I just want to encourage you to keep going. And I know it's really hard. I find it hard sometimes. We all find it hard sometimes. But you are on the right track. If you're watching this video and you've got this far, you are on the right track.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much. Yep,
Walking
and
in nature.
yep,
Yes,
Hannah says but Hamilem says beautiful, and
beautiful.
Janeki says yep. Walking in nature. So I hope everyone that you've enjoyed this conversation and a little
Mhm.
bit of a song as well from Gemma, and
I
that you've
feel like I was judging myself at the beginning. I was like, "Oh no, it's not working." But
yeah.
that's the thing. That's what happens. We judge our voices, and that's why I do like find your voice sessions because I know that voice work is so vulnerable, can be so vulnerable, and we judge our voices so much.
Yeah, yeah, and that will definitely be in that next show that we do.
Yeah.
So yeah, so everyone, hope you enjoyed this conversation, found it insightful, because I know I definitely did. So if people want to connect with you, Gemma, how do they do that?
Yes, so I am on pretty much all the social media platforms. I'm on so it's through so Jemma Rosenthal is my music pages. So that's on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, all the music sites, Tidal, YouTube. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's where all my music videos are and dance videos. I also have another YouTube channel called Creative Hearts. And on Instagram, I'm also on there as Jemma Rosenthal, but also creativehearts.coach is my Facebook and Instagram for my coaching. So Creative Hearts is the workshops that I do. So if you message me on any of those sites, then you can find out more about workshops, one on ones, coaching, Reiki healing, voice work. anything
gigs.
to do, yeah, anything to do with what we've spoken about. If you've got any questions, there's the cards and books that are there to support you as well. Um, yeah, it's all there for you, and there's loads of videos. I'm always posting videos. So
The YouTube channel is very good, and what I will do is once the show's finished, I'll put links to, the Facebook, the Instagram, and the YouTube, and the Spotify, et cetera, in the
yeah,
comments. So all people have to do is just click on it, and they go straight there.
yeah.
And that. So thank you so much, Gemma, for sharing your wisdom. And Lisa says that she's looking forward to that next show that we do. Thank you both. Thank you,
Thank
Lisa,
you, Lisa.
for joining us, and thank you to everyone who has joined us today. Um,
Get to
to
Burnham
Burnham
on
on
Crouch.
Couch, and that I've no idea where Burnham on Crouch
I
is.
don't either. What's going on in Burnham on Crouch?
Exactly. So whilst we're waiting for Lisa to reply to that, I just want again say thank you to everyone for joining in, watching the show, asking questions,
Yeah.
and even if you're watching this on replay, if you've got any questions or any comments, please do put them on because Gemma and I will check back both on Facebook and YouTube.
Mhm.
For those, especially if you do that little exercise that Gemma gave you as well.
Yeah,
And
just let us know your feedback.
yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, if you are ready to remember your divine presence and step onto your spiritual multidimensional path, but you feel lost, confused, or stuck or alone, then please feel free to reach out and connect with me. And we can see where you are now and how you can move your life forward to take charge of your destiny so you can spread your wings and soar. And please feel free to join my weekly newsletter and receive a free Future Life progression recording where I take you into future lifetime to get guidance and clarity that you can use in your current life, as well as a couple of other free gifts. And again, thank you all so much for watching. I'd like to invite you to share this video, as I'm sure there are
Yes.
more people who feel lost and want to get clear on their destiny just like you. And of course, if you are watching this on YouTube or you've got a YouTube, you're on YouTube, then please feel free to subscribe and hit that bell button to be notified of when the show goes live or I post new guided meditations. And of course, to join up to Gemma's YouTube channel as well. And Lisa says, deepest Essex. I'll message you, Gemma, and fill you in. Come down to Rae. Yep, definitely. Well, Essex, I go up to Essex. And Hannah says, perfect finish to bank holiday weekend. Thank you both. Loving them in abundance. Thank you, Hannah, for those final words. And I look forward to you all joining me same time, same place next week. Take care,
I just
everyone.
wanted to say,
Yep.
can we thank James Dand as well, because that's how we met
We
through
did,
James.
yes. James Stand. We did meet through him. So yes, and again, it's amazing when you go to do something with someone else that you meet people there that you connect
Yes.
with, and you go, oh, okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
going to be.
We were
Uh,
part of a healing program called Healing and Believing, and we were both practitioners on there. So
it
that's how
is,
we met.
and in fact, we can you send me your link. I can put both our links to those
Yeah.
on there, so
Yeah,
people can
yeah, yeah.
actually check it out and check out
Yeah.
the whole series because it
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
really amazing
Really good
series.
series. Yeah, some great healers on there.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. It was great for me as well to actually listen and take
Yeah.
to everyone
I
else
might
on
go
there.
back to it actually and check out,
Yeah,
do it again because yeah, it was really good.
yeah, it was. Anyway, thank you, Gemma. Thank you, everyone, so much. And we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye.